Alrighty guys, so recently I started a job that requires me to deal with a lot of sensitive data, and that's kind of why I'm making this video, because I'm running into a problem. The issue that I have is essentially I need to find a way to be able to store very important information without it being able to be seen by others. So, for example, I can't just store it on a notepad and then just hope no one reads it, for example. I need something that can encrypt it. But in addition to that, I would like to be able to make sure that the device, for example, has access to Teams or things of that nature, so I don't have to be running around with a tablet and a phone and looking like I'm just on my phone 24/7 checking on Teams. So I decided to do some digging to see if I could find something that would actually be worth my time and money. And what I came across is just a complete and utter headache. So without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, and by the way, my name's Matthew Napier. So if you'd like the video, like it for me, would ya? New YouTuber. Otherwise, I appreciate it. So the very first one, which is probably on everyone's minds, is Remarkable. I personally have been looking at this tablet since I was in university. I figured, oh my goodness, this is actually interesting. Now, with the Remarkable tablet, after contacting customer support, they do claim that there is in fact encryption. They do claim in fact that there is a thing called secure boot as well. And they essentially claim that I would be rather secure, given that it doesn't ever have to access the internet. However, that's the fact of it can't ever access the internet, because it turns out that they access their servers. So anything that is on your tablet, for example, will go straight to the Remarkable cloud servers. Which, if you're like me, I ain't trusting that. So, you can see here the Remarkable Paper Pro Move, Remarkable Paper Pro, or the Paper Pure. What they recommended me at the end of the day under their email is anything under Paper Pro, I could have the option to be able to do. Now, if I go, for example, to learn more in the shop, you'll see here that I'm looking at 650 euros for something like this. I'm like, well, that's pretty steep, especially considering the fact that I probably am not going to be able to use Teams or anything else of that nature. So it's not really an option, even though I keep trying to find every single excuse to actually be able to buy it and use it. So I decided to then look at the next greatest thing, Bullocks. Now, Bullocks is something that's really creative, I want to say, where essentially they allow, it's more so an e-ink, right? It allows you to freely install apps with Android, so that kind of fixes my solution on trying to use an email or such. And in addition to that, it's actually colored, so I don't really have to be, staring at gray. One of the other problems with Remarkable as well is that the coloring, or the lighting rather, you have to literally buy an extension to have a light on top of your tablet if you're in dark places. Now, I don't really mind that, but if I'm buying a tablet, especially for 650 euros, I kind of am hoping that I have some form of light, right? Just some form. But anyways, so then I'm thinking, okay, so this would be the one, right? But then I go down further the rabbit hole, and I find posts like this. Remarkable is best for pencil-like handwriting. Supernote has pen-like handwriting and is the best for notes management. Okay, Supernote's interesting. KindScribe is the best for ebook management. Box is the only one using real Android OS that allows you to encrypt the tablet. So now we know that encryption is possible with Box. But here's where things get rather interesting as well, because if I scroll down further here, down this rabbit hole, or let's see if I can actually find it here. Keep in mind that unlike iPad, none of these e-ink tablets are encrypted out of the box. So you can see here that it says Box is the only one that's really usable, but it says here none of these are encrypted out of the box. If your tablet is misplaced, a person who found it can connect to it via the PC and view all your notes. Box is the only one that gives you the choice to encrypt it, but even then, don't use it for work for the government, military, or keep sensitive data. Why, you might ask? Why, you might ask? Well, because Box connects to their servers in China. Okay, so I can have China reading all my personal information, but be able to have Samsung colored, or I can have Remarkable that actually uploads to the cloud, which is their cloud, which is not per se secure as well. Okay, well that got me thinking, what could possibly be the by far most secure operating system, right? That would be Graphene OS, right? Everyone knows that at this point, that Graphene OS is basically the go-to. But now here's the problem, right? So I'm going over here and I'm taking a look. I'm like, well, let me look at the Pixel tablet. Pixel tablet looks pretty cool. Never heard of it before. Let me see. Oh, it's actually on the cheaper side, $3.99, right? Well, guess what? They don't sell them anymore. Google is reportedly killing the Pixel Tablet 3, ending tablet efforts once more. Update, maybe not. But honestly, at the end of the day, it is, because on Coolblue, Media Market, Amazon, insert any location here, you can't buy them anymore. So, it doesn't exist, at least for now. The only way I can get them is by eBay. But if I go by eBay, I have a new problem. Want to take a guess? Wanna? The new problem I have is under the frequently, or FAQ, frequently asked questions, the Pixel tablet only has 2 more years left of support under Graphene. So, do I then grab the Graphene OS with the Pixel tablet and then after the 2 years I just stick to it? Or what do I do? Do I then just change it from Lineage, and then how am I going to move stuff over, right? So then the question is, well, what if I just stick to something like Lineage OS? Right? Right? But then you have posts here, and yes, I understand this post was here from 4 years ago. I get that. But then you can see, for example, no system is secure, or at least none that does something useful. In that case, a big concerns in our article are user debug builds, unlocked bootloader and verified boot, rollback protection, which can be used to go back to an Android version that is a known security issue, and firmware updates. Now, I don't care for any of these 3, but what I did care for is, for example, the unlocked bootloader / verified boot. So I was like, okay, let me take a look going down this rabbit hole on the boots. Can I relock the bootloader? The answer is typically no. So then, let's take a look. Can you relock a OnePlus bootloader? It says it's not possible. It can lead to issues with the device, but yet you can see here how to relock the bootloader on any OnePlus device. So maybe it is possible, but the AI just really sucks. Then here, does Lineage OS really use more Google services than E/OS? Well, see how to de-Google. Recent threats, how to de-Google. Essentially, what I found out is Lineage OS does in fact use Google in the respect. So much so that even with the GPS, apparently it uses it. This is the AGPS/supple issue, and even /E uses the Google services for it for their docs. There are a few alternative supple servers on the net, and even fewer of them are public. And there's an issue though if your provider doesn't configure another DNS server or uses Google anyways, as well as Google services for Wi-Fi. And finally, LOS still uses Google DNS servers only as a default, which, once again, default, but we can change it over. So maybe I should go with Lineage OS, right? But I also looked at E just to see what was on their recommended devices, because I figured maybe I'll go take a look at EOS. And I came across something that's really interesting. So I saw the Galaxy Tab S7. I was like, okay, so it can switch, but the catch was it's not lockable on the bootloader. So I was like, okay, so anything with Galaxy is not possible with locking. But then we can take a look here. Vola Tablet, which I've never heard before in my life, apparently is lockable. I was quite shocked. And then the build variant is apparently user. So then we can see here a production-oriented release optimized for end users with debugging disabled, no root access, and maximum security. And then the play integrity apparently works. Because here's the problem, right? If essentially we don't have a lockable bootloader, then if I want to use banking services, not that I ever do on a tablet that I'm already putting PII information on possibly, then I'm running into the issue that it may not work at all, which means some other programs might not work. So I'm trying to avoid that factor, right? I'm trying to get the biggest bang for my buck. And so then I go down the list and I look at the Vola tablet. And the Vola tablet. Apparently I press it multiple times. And sure enough, they apparently have a Vola OS Android, a Ubuntu Touch Linux, and the choice is yours, with a multi-boot option, mind you, which kind of made me curious because I've never seen a tablet have multi-boot options. But what kind of interested me here and kind of confused me a little bit and kind of pulled me away from it is they have this comparison table, right? Now, this comparison table has like one asterisk next to it, which, okay, fine, so be it. You know, you're trying to show what you can or don't have. But then it gets kind of weird because down here, it has user data encryption, right? So they're trying to like show and make the list long. But then over here, it still has, once again, user data encryption on top of it. And then they have their own Vola Cloud. Now, granted, this is apparently made in Germany, or in compiled. So I'm not entirely sure if that would be a positive here, but you can see Android Linux kernel, beta status with additional software, Windroid possible, locked bootloader, protects against changes to the firmware, use administration permissions to change the system, which is on root permissions right here. Now, I wanted to see the price of these, and the price is pretty heavy when I look at this as well. It's $698 for the phone tablet. Now, if I'm looking as well, by the way, they also spelled permissions wrong, even on their website to change it. So, usually when you see grammatical issues like this and a features page which has multiple features on their side to try and make their phone look good, you then have to go over to Reddit. Now, I've looked at this Reddit page and there's not a lot of information at all on this tablet, which is what's making my head spin a little bit. There's really just not. Now, what there is, however, is conversations to do with how people experience the tablet. So, thanks for sharing your experience. Sounds good. I found them as probably my next not Android phone. I less need a tablet, but I'm thinking on that too. We can go, for example, here on the very top, and you'll see what this mate actually mentioned. I want to share his experience. Let's start with my app list. He changed all of his Apple/Android device products essentially over into non-Google devices or Android Apple. I got this thing to work on the Vola tablet except for TomTom Paid. And then the ordering process was apparently terrible because Vola has to wait 10 days before even processing the order. Now keep in mind this was a year ago, things might change. And apparently he had issues with Vola PIN, but then down here he actually states that he did manage to fix it. PIN issue is now resolved, the PIN is now working, all the apps are still working and did not find a problem. Fortunately though, he didn't get Android Auto to work. So I'm over here just scratching my head because on one side, I want to grab a tablet. I do. On the other side, I don't know what the hell to buy. Because I can grab a Vola tablet for 700 euros and just accept that I could have had like a mini computer at that point. But obviously now, you know, it's tablet based and I could just put OS on that at this point. I could go for the tablet, like I said. Or I can just swallow my pride, go on eBay, find a Graphene OS device for a Pixel tablet, or Pixel tablet with Graphene OS rather, and accept the 2 good years that I have and see what happens after the 2 years. Or I just grab maybe a Samsung device and put a Linux on it, except it's not going to be a secure boot on it or lockable. I don't know, but this is essentially the issue I'm running into and I have no idea what to do. So I decided I'd come to you, YouTube, to essentially get an idea of what you guys think and tell me if I'm missing something over here, because like I said, I want to do something secure, but at the end of the day, with security comes problems, right? Especially when you're connecting over to the internet. So I don't even know anymore. Let me show you this email address really quick. I mean this email that actually popped up, if I can get it to fully appear. Here we go. So when the email's from Remarkable, they said, "Hi, thank you for circling back. I understand you're interested in your free offer, military discounts." No, they don't offer. So here's my other question to do, for example, as well. Thank you for reaching out to us. Interesting, remarkable. We understand your security concerns, especially given the sensitive nature of your work. The good news is that you don't need a custom-built device. Our standard Remarkable Pro comes equipped with these security features. Pro includes advanced security features such as secure boot, full disk encryption, enhanced device login, and SSH access configuration. Which, why do I want this enabled or even on my device? We utilize Secure Enclave and Secure and System on Chip secure mode to manage cryptographic keys and functions. Ensuring the integrity of the security features mentioned above, this approach prevents unauthorized access to sensitive key materials, sensitivity, significantly reducing the risk of data leakage. So IT professionally can rest assured that these hardware and software security layers are baked directly to system architecture. But once again, it doesn't have Teams or anything else that I want. So I don't know anymore. Alright. That's about it. Let me know, basically, please. Sorry that this video is so long. I have no idea. So, see ya.